What's the difference between those who live their dreams and those who fail to? Is it where or how someone's born? Or is it something intangible, a word, a thought, a belief? I heard a wise man once said, "Man is like a breath, his days like a passing shadow." Well, if life is really but a breath, I wasn't going to sit around while my breath disappeared. I wanted to know what this world had to offer. Now, some people told me I was much too young to travel, but as I've learned in life, there's a lot of naysayers out there you can't always listen to. And let me tell you, none of them impacted my sleep on my first international flight. After awaking from my beauty sleep, I found we had crossed the skies from Los Angeles over the US and the Atlantic Ocean. We had a quick plane change in beautiful Zurich, Switzerland, and a small flight before we had finally reached our first destination. There I am, our first stop, Barcelona, Spain, a city known for its beaches, food, architecture, and history. I can't wait to get started. Let's check this place out. Welcome to Casa Mila, an apartment designed by Antoni Gaudi. This building was heavily criticized at the time due to its unconventional style, and residents were concerned it would bring down the market value in the surrounding area. Little did they know, this would become one of the most visited attractions in Barcelona's modern times. La Sagrada Familia, the icon of the city. Construction started in 1882, just a few years before I was born. The exterior of this church shows the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The interior of the church integrates nature with architecture, the columns resembling branches. With 18 towers, 12 representing each of the disciples, and the last and highest tower representing Christ himself. This stands over 566 feet tall. Antoni Gaudi worked on Sagrada Familia until his death in 1926, proclaiming his client, God, was in no hurry. I had a taste of Barcelona, but it was time to follow the sun to my next destination. Any trip around the world just wouldn't be complete without visiting Paris, the city of lights. I started off at one of the smaller museums, the Louvre. Okay, actually it's the largest in the world. Seriously though, can you resist that face? I love the Louvre. They make all the adults wait in long lines unless they have a kid with them. Then you get celebrity status and skip the lines, which if you think about it is how it should be everywhere. And with nearly 400,000 objects, sculptures, paintings, and archaeological finds, your parents won't be getting bored anytime soon. Plus, one of my favorite paintings, Jesus at the Last Supper, just before he was betrayed, and that look he gives Judas. And they have other paintings like the Tower of Babel, where everyone was given a different language. And the Louvre is always good for some last-minute dining and living room decoration ideas. Just check that gold out. Hopefully, Dad takes notice, because it's time to upgrade the crib, if you know what I mean. Overall, an amazing day at the Louvre. You simply cannot go to Paris without seeing the Eiffel Tower. Construction started in 1887, but not without great protest of such a useless and monstrous tower. Many said it was impossible, and no structure at that time was anywhere near such a height. However, La Dame de Fer, French for the Iron Lady, was not to be stopped, and stands over 1,000 feet tall, now a global icon and most visited paid monument in the world. Sadly, our time in Paris had come to an end, but we had more places to be and important things to see. Always remember to entertain your parents when traveling, and travel as light as possible.
Hello there. Thank you very much.
After my overnight flight, I had awoken in Dubai, one of the Middle East's most popular tourist destinations. We were picked up at the airport and taken to Palm Jumeirah, a huge man-made island in the shape of a palm tree when seen from space. I was now officially halfway around the world, yet walking through the Atlantis felt like a palace away from home, something I wouldn't have any problem getting used to. With over 65,000 marine animals, the Atlantis is themed on a mythical underwater city and has one of the world's largest water parks. I was excited to explore Dubai, so we headed to the monorail, which was next to the hotel, to see what was in the area. It was amazing to think that everything we were seeing, the homes, the resorts and malls that made up the islands, which now added over 300 miles of oceanfront property to Dubai, didn't exist just a short while before. One of the greatest civil engineering projects of our time started with just an idea. First stop was the Nikhil Mall, which opened in 2019 with over 300 shops and restaurants. Decked out with Christmas decorations for the season, there was plenty of fun for everyone. The day was coming to a close quickly, so we watched the Arabian sun go down and headed inside to the Atlantis Lounge to refuel, because people my age don't tend to last long without food. When I awoke, it was my favorite time again, time to eat. I had died and gone to food heaven as far as I was concerned. This was worth the trip alone. Everything was great except a few minor issues. I started off in the seafood section, but pulled a muscle. Next, I went to get Italian, and a lady got stuck in the door, and I couldn't get pasta, you know what I mean. Time to burn off some of that breakfast in one of the world's largest water parks. My favorite ride was the lazy river. Not that I'm lazy or anything, but with all the months of hard work I put in, sometimes you just have to relax once in a while. Well, that's it. We'd seen everything there was to see in Dubai, or at least at the Atlantis. A baby my age can only see so much in one trip, so I'll have to save the rest for my next one when I retire. I had to take one last look at the amazing underwater aquariums, which included everything from sharks to jellyfish. Driving through Dubai, you couldn't avoid the Burj Khalifa, coming in at over 160 stories high and the tallest building in the world. I made a point to see the authentic side of Dubai and got stuck in some traffic for a bit on the way to the airport, where we would soon be off again, continuing east to our next city. Or at least that's what I thought, until I found out my parents forgot to purchase a ticket for me out of Dubai. The good news is my parents seemed surprised, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt that they weren't trying to ditch me exactly halfway around the world. Buying an extra ticket minutes before boarding a plane turns out to be a bigger problem than you'd think. Luckily, the helpful airport staff somehow got it done just in time, and I had to scrap my plans for a penthouse lifestyle at the top of the Burj Khalifa. Now that I actually had a ticket, I made my bed and was out like a light while my family settled in. I began to dream of just where in the world we would be tomorrow. I awoke to a glistening sunrise over the beautiful Thai coastline. All I could think of now was the amazing Thai food I wanted to eat. Unfortunately, this wasn't our final destination, so after landing we had to quickly find our next flight due to a very short connection. Of course, when you're in a hurry, there's always a massive line that appears out of nowhere. Once we made it through the line, we made a run for it across the airport and boarded our flight just in time. We had made our second flight, but I still hadn't had the chance to get any Thai food from Thailand. Luckily, we were on Thai Airways, and we were served up an amazing array of spicy Thai dishes.